2PM published this graphic that I came across the other day that said 32% of the top 500 direct-to-consumer companies are not using an e-commerce platform, but have instead completely custom built their own from scratch. Pull yourself up a chair and let's talk about the pros and cons of this approach. I'll be honest, those license fees that Adobe's quoting for Adobe Commerce would have me considering my options as well. Not that it's just an Adobe issue. All the platforms are going to take their pound of flesh. You start thinking about that and weighing it against the manpower you could potentially hire, and at a certain scale, you start thinking that building your own e-commerce site from the ground up is actually a viable option. Now, I'm not saying it isn't. That equation's going to be different for everyone, and maybe for you, it's the right decision. But for most people, it's a trap, and it won't work out in their favor. Let's look at the high-level pros and cons of building it completely from scratch versus using an e-commerce platform. Now, this is an Adobe Commerce channel, so let's use that as an alternative to rolling your own, but realistically, from a high level, the pros and cons are very similar regardless of the platform. Now, once we're done weighing those options, at the end of this video, I'm going to talk about how you can kind of get the best of both worlds, and probably that's what you need to be looking at if you're considering this option. So if you're watching this, you're probably considering building something from scratch. So let's start with the benefits of that approach. First and foremost, you get to design every single aspect of your e-commerce experience down to the pixel and get precisely what you want, you control freak, if your team can pull it off. No shade. I assume they can, but we'll talk about the concerns there in just a minute. If you have a non-typical e-commerce use case where you'll need to significantly alter the user experience and you're going to have to go through and do significant customizations to make it work on your platform of choice anyway, then this makes sense to consider that option. You just need to make sure your needs on the back end are fairly simple, extremely well defined, and are rigid, as in they won't shift around too much as you're working your way through the project. If that's you, well, let's get started building this thing. Let's fire up the IDE. Maybe a little too soon. Let's at least finish the video. Because the problem with most e-commerce platforms is that they're designed to appeal to the widest set of use cases. Honestly, if you were looking to sell software licenses, you'd want as many potential customers as possible. And that means with any platform out there, there's going to be a lot of functionality that's not really going to apply to your business. All of that functionality is overhead. Some of it may affect site performance, require patches and updates, or just be something that you'd either have to remove or kind of work around. If you built it yourself, it'd be this nice little small package that only contains exactly what you need. Efficient is the word that comes to mind. You get to squeeze out every drop of performance you can get, and there's absolutely nothing unwanted in there for you to have to deal with. To recap, the primary benefits of building it from scratch: it's exactly what you want. No inefficiencies, completely custom tailored to your needs. It all sounds like heaven. Like, why wouldn't everybody do this? Well, because it doesn't always go down as planned. Let's look at what you're missing by not leveraging something like Adobe Commerce, and then we'll talk about some of the issues that often come up with custom-built sites. First, why reinvent the wheel? There's a ton of functionality out of the box that you don't need to write. Catalog management, content management, promotions, payments, tax automation, shipping integrations, all of the things that just about every e-commerce site needs these days, it's just there. You don't need to worry about it. Just add your customizations and go on about your business. Adobe has an entire team and years of work into these features. They are almost guaranteed going to be a lot more robust than you'd create with your limited resources and timeline. You also lose third-party support. Because Adobe Commerce and Magento have been so popular for so long, you have a ton of third-party support for various pieces of functionality. You want some piece of functionality? It's probably a module for it. You need to integrate with another platform? There's probably some service for that. If you custom write everything, you take what could be a fairly simple module install and turn it into a large custom project. E-commerce is growing increasingly complex. The e-commerce platform is only a small part of that. And this makes the ecosystem around a platform even more important. Most businesses need an email automation platform, search provider, CRM, support, all the way down to loyalty and rewards. You're going to write those too? Well, you're going to have to at least write and maintain the integration. I mentioned it was complex. But e-commerce is also an ever-changing game. It takes effort to keep up. What worked a couple of years ago? No longer sufficient today. Working with a platform like Adobe Commerce, you get the power of their team constantly adding to the platform, not to mention that easily accessible third-party ecosystem of functionality. Everyone who is trying to talk you out of Adobe Commerce is going to mention how bad updates suck. But on the flip side, that's new functionality and improvements getting added to the site that you didn't have to write yourself. Let's shift gears here a bit and talk about the issues most folks will run into once they decide to go down the path of building their e-commerce offering from scratch. And then I'm going to tell you about how smart businesses are getting the best of both worlds. First, this is more difficult than you think. It's going to take more time than your team estimates, and you're going to find out that nice, concise list of functionality that you've defined is going to balloon once you actually start writing and testing it. And that's going to lead to a higher budget and longer timelines than you anticipate. It can often be significantly higher and longer, depending on how much you underestimated the effort. Second, you're going to need a bigger and more experienced team that a lot of merchants are going to have access to. Not all, fair enough, but most. You'll need experience that can touch on all aspects of your project, from UX design all the way to architecture, heavy backend programming, database design, DevOps, hosting, you name it. Even if you're successful, these custom projects often start out as that neat, clean, concise, little efficient thing. Your primary objective is saving budget, getting to market quickly, and hopefully a well-defined set of functionality. So these systems are often designed with those short-sighted needs in mind and get convoluted over time as things change. That adds a lot of difficulty to the long-term maintenance and agility on the custom-built platform. Basically, the path to success on this route is a lot more cloudy. So don't let me talk you out of it. You know your business and your capabilities much better than I do. Just heed the warning, do what you will with it. If you're a little uncertain as to whether the completely custom route is right for you, let's discuss an in-between, a hybrid best-of-breed approach. What you really want is a completely custom-tailored, lightning-fast, lightweight user experience, ideally without giving up all the strengths that a platform like Adobe Commerce has to offer. Let it handle cataloging, content, promos, all the things that it does really well, and just leverage the pieces you need without the overhead of the rest of it getting in the way for your awesome lightweight front end. It sounds nice, doesn't it? Well, what you're looking for is a headless approach, and it's what all the cool kids are moving to these days. Build your front end as custom as you want it. Leverage the best tools on the market for what they do well. You get almost all the benefits of the e-commerce platform, but you still get full control over everything that your user actually touches. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What are the pros and cons of each approach that I missed? You may have also noticed this is a brand new channel focused exclusively on Adobe Commerce and Magento. Perhaps give it a subscription if you're into the platform. Matter of fact, just hit all the buttons for me. Like, subscribe, leave me a comment, whatever. Just any button you see, just press it. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time. My name is TJ Gamble, and I'm the CEO and founder of Jamerson, where we help businesses like yours take those next steps in their e-commerce journey. If you're ready to improve your business and looking for help, go to jamerson.com/go, and I look forward to speaking with you. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.